In this video, let's solve a problem on error analysis. The question is, a student measures the internal and external diameters of a cylindrical vessel as 100 plus or minus 1 millimeter and 104 plus or minus 1 millimeter respectively. Full stop. The possible error in the determination of the thickness of the vessel is option A, plus or minus 2 millimeter, option B, plus or minus 1 millimeter, option C, plus or minus 0.5 millimeter, option D, 0. Now let's start with the data given. So we have internal diameter. Let's call that one D1. That is 100 plus or minus 1 millimeter. Then we also have external diameter. Let's call that one D2. That is 104 plus or minus 1 millimeter. Now we have the two in our question, that is internal diameter and external diameter is given in the question. Now, how can we find the possible error in the thickness of the vessel? Let us find the possible error, then how can we find it? So let's start by saying let T, let the thickness be the sum or difference in the diameter. So the thickness should be the sum or difference of the diameter from here. So let's start with this. So now let delta T be the absolute error in the measurement of T. Absolute error in the measurements of T. Now let the D1 be the absolute error in the measurement of D1. So D1 is the first diameter. So absolute error in the first diameter D1, and let delta D2 be the absolute error in the second diameter. So that is in D2. So, and again, okay, we have everything. So let the T be the absolute error in the measurement of T, that is the thickness. Let the T be the absolute error in the measurement of D1, that is the first diameter, that is internal diameter. Let delta 2 be the absolute error in the measurement of D2, that is external diameter D2, because we represent it like that. Now if we substitute all this in our expression, so we have from T is equals to D1 plus or minus D2. Then we have T plus absolute error in measurement of t will be equals to d1 plus absolute error in the measurement of d1, then plus or minus d2 plus absolute error in the measurement of d2, absolute error in the measurement of d2, like this. So I can write these two together, that is d1 plus d2. So I will have t plus delta t, absolute error in measurement of t, that is the thickness, then d1 plus d2. So I'm writing this one and this one together, so d1 plus d2, then plus, so I'll have this now, delta d1, that is absolute error in the measurement of internal diameter, that is the d1, then plus or minus delta d2, absolute error in the measurement of diameter 2, that is external diameter. But what is d1 plus d2 in the question? So what is d1 plus d2? You should notice that d1 plus d2 is, so I have to add plus or minus, yeah, that is d1 plus or minus delta d1, that is this d1 plus or minus delta d1, also this plus or minus, yeah, then d2, that is plus or minus d2, so that will be plus or minus d2. If you like, you can put it here also, plus or minus, because it's the maximum I will pick later. So now if I combine this d1 and this one together, so I will have d1 plus or minus d2, yeah, so d1 plus or minus d2, also plus or minus d1, so it will remain plus or minus d1 and plus or minus d2. So t plus or minus delta t, absolute error in the measurement of thickness, will be equals to, what is d1 plus d2 here is in your question, that is t. So d1 plus or minus d2 is t, then plus or minus absolute error in internal diameter plus or minus absolute error in measurement of the external diameter, that is d2. Now if you collect like terms, that is t1 plus or minus absolute error in the thickness minus t, that is this t will come to this side, it will turn to minus, equals to plus or minus absolute error in internal diameter plus or minus absolute error in external diameter. Now this t will cancel out, so t will cancel out, yeah, so it will remain, so if t cancel out, we have plus or minus absolute error in the measurement of the thickness will be equals to plus or minus absolute error in the measurement of internal diameter plus or minus absolute error in the measurement of the external diameter. Now, from these results, the four possible, so I'll consider the positive parts of this possible error, or the absolute error in the thickness. I'll consider the positive. So that means the T will be equals to, here we can have plus or minus delta d1, that is absolute error in the measurement of the internal diameter, plus or minus absolute error in the measurement of the external diameter. Now from here we can have four possible values here. So the four possible value of absolute error in the measurement of the thickness. So the four possible values we can have there is delta T, we can have delta D1 plus delta D2, or we can have delta D1 minus delta D2, or we can have minus delta D1 plus delta D2. We can also have minus delta D1 minus delta D2. How do we get this? It's like saying plus times this, it will give us this first one. Again, plus times plus, it will give us this second one, plus. Then again, minus times this, or plus times minus in the second case, to give us this minus. Again, we use this minus again, minus times this, it will be this, so this is plus. For the other one, minus times minus will be plus. So that's how we can get all the four values. So it's like using this plus or minus to expand this one by one. So, and plus or minus means plus all this, also minus all this, then the minus can open the brackets. So for better understanding of the four values, let me show that part. It can also be like, because it's plus or minus, so that you get the part, it can be plus delta d1 plus or minus delta d2, or minus delta d1 plus or minus delta d2. So this is clear. So that is plus or minus here. Split it to be plus or minus. So that's it. And if you now use it to expand, if you use it to expand, plus times this, so you should have two results here because of this plus or minus. That means I can have delta d1 plus delta d2, that's for the plus. I can also have delta d1 minus delta d2, that is for the minus. Then I'll move to this one also, I'll have two results too because of plus or minus. So this will be minus, because of the minus outside, so minus delta d1, so minus times plus will be minus, minus delta d2, and again minus times minus will be plus. Can also have minus delta d1 plus delta d2. Now these are the four possible values of absolute error in the measurement of the thickness. So now, but out of this four now, we'll pick the maximum. So from here, the maximum, so therefore the maximum possible values of absolute error in the thickness, the maximum possible values in the absolute error. So let me put it this way so you can understand better. Therefore, the maximum absolute error in T. So the maximum absolute error in T, that is in the thickness, is, so the maximum absolute error in the thickness is dt is equals to, so we are coming back to this place. So dt is equals to plus or minus delta d1 plus delta d2. So like that. So let me write that again. Space. Maximum absolute error in thickness is delta t plus or minus, we are writing it from here, but we are taking the maximum out, which is this one. So that will be delta d1 plus delta d2. So this is the formula we need to find the possible, according to this question, the possible error in determination of the thickness. So this is the formula we need now. So that means if you want to find the error in sum or difference, so we can generalize that now. The maximum absolute error in sum or difference of two quantities is equal to the sum of the absolute error in individual quantities. That is absolute error in internal diameter plus absolute error in external diameter. So that will give us the absolute error in thickness. So now, that's the formula we are going to use. So, absolute error in the thickness will be equals to plus or minus absolute error in internal diameter plus absolute error in external diameter. Now for the internal diameter d1, so we have 100. So d1 is 100 millimeter, and let me write d1 complete. Yeah, that is 100 plus or minus 1 millimeter. From here, d1 is equals to 100 millimeter, and absolute error in d1 is equals to 1 millimeter. This one. Also for d2 is equals to 104 plus or minus 1 millimeter. That means d2 will be equals to 104 millimeter, and absolute error in d2, that is absolute error in external diameter, is also 1 millimeter. That is this one. So what we want here is absolute error in thickness. So that's what they call the possible error in the thickness. That is the T. So which is equals to plus or minus absolute error in D1, absolute error in D2. So that is plus or minus 1 plus 1, as in we have it here already. 1 plus 1. So delta T, that is absolute error in thickness, is equals to plus or minus 2 millimeter. This is in millimeter. So that means this is the answer. That will be option A. So if you check the first one, it will be option A. So that means the T, absolute and possible error in the determination of the thickness, is plus or minus 2 millimeter, or absolute error in the thickness. But what is the real thickness? Here we know the answer already. The answer is A. The answer here is A. So, but what is the thickness of this vessel? So the measurement of the thickness can be T plus delta T. So that will be, we know T already. Yeah, how can we find the thickness? Normally this is the answer for the possible error in the determination of thickness. But what is the measurement of the thickness in this case with the error limits? What is the measurement of the thickness? That's what I want to do now. So first of all, the thickness will be D2 minus D1. So to get thickness, we need to find the difference in the external diameter and the internal diameter. The difference is 104 minus 100. That means thickness is equals to 4 millimeter. So thickness is 4 millimeter, and absolute error in thickness is plus or minus 2 millimeter. So that means the thickness of this vessel with the error limits is now, so thickness with the error limits is T is equals to is T plus delta T. So that will be 4 plus or minus 2 millimeter. So we know T already as 4 as shown. That is external diameter minus internal diameter. Then we know delta T. That is absolute error in the thickness. So the thickness can measure, the measurement of the thickness can be this. So that's it. But this is the one the question asked for. So which is option A. Thank you.